Dear friends, good day and welcome to the sixth and final episode of our Learning Bach series. This is perforce the last episode of this series, as tomorrow morning I actually have to perform this marvelous capriccio by Bach. However, deep in my heart, I'm absolutely certain that whenever we learn a new piece of music, there is never an end in sight. We can always glimpse something more from the score, we can always adopt a different point of view. Music interpretation is something that is always in motion, it's never static, and for that reason, today I would like to take you through a few instances in which I've actually changed my mind since I began practicing this piece about a month ago. And on that note, I think we better start from the beginning, from the very first piece, the Arioso. As you can see, the third note of the melody here is either an acciaccatura or an appoggiatura. Most people perform it like an acciaccatura, like this. However, it would be totally acceptable to play it like an appoggiatura, therefore to place this little note on the downbeat, like this. There's quite a big difference from this to this. Now, of course, we need to make a decision, and you'll be totally justified in asking me what my decision is going to be. I'm afraid, though, I'm going to have to disappoint you because I'm not going to make any decision now. I've said repeatedly in this and other program that I am a very privileged man. I have a lot of friends and life is generally nice to me. Therefore, tonight I will go to Palazzo Blu, to the auditorium where tomorrow I will give this recital. I will meet the piano that I will play, which I believe is a small Schimmel, and I will try the whole acoustic, bearing in mind that tomorrow, when there will be an audience in there, the acoustic will be slightly different. But I will base my decision upon the acoustic response of both the piano and the hall. When I was younger, I used to plan everything like many people do. Oh, I'm going to play forte here, piano there, make a diminuendo here. But then, through experience, I learned that so often I had to change at the last minute all this decision, maybe because the instrument wasn't responsive enough, or the acoustic of the hall wasn't appropriate to what I was doing, etc., etc. And therefore, over the years, I developed this system of practicing, which I showed you in the last episode, whereby I can be very flexible in my reaction to the atmospheric circumstances of the concerts that I give. If you remember the episode called Chord Movements and Ornamentation, you may also remember that I draw your attention to this rather obscure ornamental sign at bar 4 and following, what I call the slide, which suggests to the player to accompany the melodic notes with a little flourish. These are the bare notes that Bach wrote. But because of the little dash, I said that I would play a little run into, something like that. Now, something I forgot to mention when I talk about the fugue was that one of the principal rules of counterpoint is to avoid, like the Black Plague, parallel octaves and parallel fifths. Now, in these particular instances, if I were to play as I originally wanted to, this would happen. And I would have parallel octaves on the B flat and on the C. That's a very bad mistake. So in order to avoid this, I devised a little trick. I am going to anticipate the slide into the leading note so that the octaves, parallel octaves, are somewhat masked, and I will play like this. Again. This is just another example that shows how important it is to be very meticulous in our preparation, because of course once we have everything committed to memory, it can be rather tricky to change these things at the last moment. I am nothing to report about the third piece, the Lament Adagiosissimo. I had another look at my own realization of the basso continuo, and for the time being at least, I think I'm content with it. However, I did find something very interesting in the fourth piece, the gathering of friends that are going to bid the departing brother goodbye. This is a very short movement and only 11 bars of music. And I noticed that at bar 9 and 10, there's a very nice chordal progression, which sounds like this. Now, I just tried to play as neutrally as possible, because if we have a look at the music, we see that the first chord, which is actually an upbeat, is made up of 5 notes. Into the next bar, the first chord is made up of 5 notes, and so is the second chord. But the third chord is made up of only 4 notes. Then we return to 5 notes on the fourth chord. And then, lo and behold, in the next bar, the first chord is made up of 6 notes, and the second chord is made up of no less than 7 notes. Now, there is absolutely no foreseeable reason for doing this, except perhaps if we imagine having to play this piece on an instrument that is incapable of modulating the intensity of the sound, something like the harpsichord, or perhaps a very small pipe organ with only 1 stop. Well, it goes without saying that more notes equal more sound, and therefore I believe that this is a non-written crescendo on the part of Bach. He wants us to make more sound towards the end of this little passage. And this, because absolutely it's coming from Bach himself, I don't think there's any doubt about it. This I have to do regardless of the piano or the acoustic of the room. This is something that needs to happen, something similar to this. These are just a few examples of what we go through pretty much every day of our life. Now, time is running short. I'm playing this thing in about 20 hours, I believe. It's early afternoon on Saturday, and my concert is tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock Central European time. Now, if some of you would like to see in action the results of all this work that we did on the Bach Capriccio, on the departure of his most beloved brother, you can follow the concert online. Palazzo Blu in Pisa has a dedicated streaming service. I believe they also share it through Facebook, but the easiest thing to do if you wish to attend the concert virtually is to actually log in to the address that you see here below, and eventually the concert will start. I believe that somebody will introduce it, and then I will play a rather beautiful program which begins with this marvelous Capriccio by Bach, and then there will be a selection of pieces by Mr. Liszt. That is the prelude on the cantata Weininklagen Sorgensagen, then the 2 Legend of St. Francis, and I will finish with the beautiful paraphrase on Aida, Giuseppe Verdi's opera Aida, one of the most beautiful paraphrases that Liszt wrote. As I said, if you wish to log in and listen to the concert and see the result, truly, of all this work. This is the way to do it. It has been an absolute pleasure for me to realize this little project. Thank you all very much for following. Thank you for your support. If you haven't done it already, please subscribe to the channel. I will need to stay away for a few days because the next week I'm going up north to give another recital, but I promise you I will return with some hopefully exciting project. Until then, thank you so very much.